if you have a hard time, like the guy that felt anger, how can we blame him? We can't, because it's hard. When we feel, we don't even know what we're feeling. How many, when parents and children, they're related, they say, what are you feeling now? Why are you crying? And you know, and we're not talking about 1 year old, we're talking about a little older than that. I don't know. And come on, tell me how you're feeling. What are you feeling now? Why are you crying? Isn't that right? If you haven't never been through the experience, it's very common. Tell me, why are you crying?
Because?
Because. Exactly. Yeah, how it happens. And can we blame a child for not knowing how to express what they're feeling? No. But we've been there. We were pushed. Our parents were pushed as well in their time. And our grandparents. And all of the generations. So, we don't know. That's why we're here. Says Leon Denis, one of the main Spiritist leaders in this world. He is in the spirit realm, and according to Divaldo Franco, he's very much in charge of the progress of the movement in the world. And he said in one of his books, Here and Hereafter, in Portuguese we say Depois da Morte, he says, Spiritism has come to interconnect emotion and reasoning. So now we identify that we already have a curriculum to coach our emotions. They're there. Just like the therapist that got the gospel according to Spiritism and said, here's anger. Don't blame your body. How many people, they allow their emotions to express themselves wildly, and they go home and punish themselves by eating more than they should. That's a form of punishment. Feel guilt, and then you're guilty, and you start eating. Feel anxious, eating. It's one of the problems we have nowadays, right? And then we start feeling all this sadness, a box of chocolate. And so many, and not to say of other types of punishment, self-punishment. We were raised in this binomial mode to deal with our emotions, which is repression or liberation. How so? It's okay to be happy here because we know each other, to express what you're feeling, hug everybody, and show that you're happy. But at work, you go and hug somebody and kiss somebody. No, not here. Oh, but I like that person. Can you hug that person there and express my emotion? No. Repression. And that's how we were raised. Here, it's okay to cry. But when we go to our house, of our family, don't cry in front of everybody. I know somebody who immigrated from another country and was feeling quite homesick and was feeling quite distressed in the work environment, and a very sensitive boss observed it, called the person to his office and said, ask the question, have you been feeling homesick? The minute that that person felt that somebody was noticing her emotions, she started crying. And what happened? Oh, you're emotional. It's not that we're emotional. Of course, crying in a work environment is a no-no. But who teaches us this? There's no place. And the risk is that if we are illiterate, emotionally speaking, we're in trouble. We don't know how to read our emotions. We don't know how to read some the outcome can be tragic. So tragic that problems can happen. Do we think wars begin because people are just thinking about each other's territory? It's always fed on pride, selfishness. It's all about these feelings that are deeply rooted in our humanity. What do we do? How can we improve ourselves? And how that can actually be potentiated by other minds. So that's what we're going to keep seeing now. When Emmanuel, the mentor of the Brazilian medium Chico Xavier, came to him and said, if you want to help in this work, you need 3 things. And he said, discipline, discipline, discipline. Many people think that Chico was deaf. Probably he needed, or he was not smart enough, and Emmanuel was just repeating to make sure he got it. Not necessarily. Probably, and this is just one of the hypotheses, because only Emmanuel knows the answer, but we can extrapolate the reasons why he said that, and one of them is the actual finding that inside of us we have 3 different intelligences that complement each other. We have an intellectual intelligence, we have an emotional intelligence that is a part of social intelligence, and we have a spiritual intelligence, says Donna Zahar from Oxford University. How do we go by in which one of them? Well, go to school and you progress in your intellectual intelligence. Not only, you can become quite smart by living life and working everywhere and elsewhere, not only by getting degrees, but by working in life. It's the famous street smart person. Okay, that's intellectual intelligence. What about our emotional intelligence? Where do we get to work on that? Because intelligence is something you educate. Reprimanding or liberating it is not educating. Educating means you are increasing the levels of your ability. It's as if, think about Jesus. He was more than a PhD on emotions. To the point, when you read the passages, you can visualize the scenario. Those very ignorant people approaching him, filled with anger, pride, and selfishness, and challenging him. And he would be like calm and respond in a non-reactive manner. They would say, oh, what do I do with this coin? And he could say so many things. If we were in his shoes, we would probably reply in not very, very wise words. And Jesus returned and said, Caesar's what is Caesar's, and God's what is God's. He was not reactive. He was so emotionally elaborated. He could perceive others' emotions, not allow them to penetrate him, or even create turmoil in his heart. And he would actually offer forms of serenity to calm our hearts. And that's emotional intelligence. An emotional intelligence that is going to boost our spiritual intelligence, because our spiritual intelligence is about our nature. How does that happen? If we go into the medium's book, we're going to see that they mention, Kardec writes and says that everyone that feels the presence of spirits at any degree are considered mediums. So we are all mediums. If a loved one dies, we may say, oh, I dreamt they came to tell me that they were dying. That's mediumship. Because there doesn't say how many times you perceive. Oh, every day, once a week, once a month. If you ever perceive something that is extrasensorial, meaning beyond the physical body senses, the sixth sense, then you're medium. Big deal. It's as if people were saying, we're intelligent. Yes, we are, because that's the nature of human beings. We're rational beings. We have intellect. We have reasoning. So we need to work on it in order to educate it. The same for mediumship. We have it. What do we do with it? Because our emotions are also going to dictate the direction of that faculty. Because it's about feeling. So much so that in the definition of the book Evolution in Two Worlds, chapter 17, dedicated to understanding mediumship and our spiritual body, Andrew Louis says that we have a spiritual body and one of its most external layers named aura. Everybody has heard this. He says the aura is our omnipresent platform of communication with the foreign realms, the entrance hall of the soul in all activities of exchange with life that surrounds us. In other words, we kept the words true just so we see how Spiritism is so special. It brings a lot of profound knowledge. He's telling us that our aura is like our costume. You know, you've heard about Karen, if you haven't seen or been to one of these festivities in Brazil. And you know, you recollect those images of people using these huge costumes, right? Lots of flames and colors, so vivid. This is our aura. It's our costume. It's as if now we could see this costume. What are they? What is this costume? Filled with our thoughts and feelings. We cannot hide ourselves from who we truly are. I may be here saying, oh dear brothers, let's love one another, but deep inside I may have a lot of anger. Somebody who can perceive more sensitively the aura, they know these are just words. Because what comes in my vibratory field is everything that I actually feel and think. We can perceive each other by this costume of vibration. Whatever I'm feeling is vibrating there. That's why we need to educate my emotion. Because as he says, look what he says, this aura, this costume, is the entrance hall. What does he mean? He means, you know, like a foyer of a house, you open the door, and it's there. It means that whatever is happening here is dictating my relationship with everybody else. In both worlds. That's why evolution in two worlds. It means that if I am feeling joy, I am connecting with people who feel joy. Rule number one, you know, people think about the laws of physical life. But what about the laws of spiritual life? There are spiritual laws of life, like gravity in the physical plane. I don't like gravity, Vanessa. Why not? Because I fall. Because of gravity, I may fall from a chair. Well, you need to appreciate it, be vigilant, and observe and watch out where you step.